Welcome to episode 11 of the Exactly Entertainment podcast. Today, we are talking about The Boys Season 2 finale. I cannot wait to get into it. We'll be talking about the finale. We'll be talking about the whole season, maybe reflecting on some of our predictions we made last time. Let's get right into it, Matt. What a finale. Obviously, there will be spoilers for season 2 of The Boys. If you have not seen season 1 or season 2, make sure you watch them both. Then come right back here to Exactly Entertainment to hear all about it. We'll be explaining the ending to an extent, discussing it, and talking about the whole show. Let's get straight into it. Matt, what did you think about this finale? What were some of your favorite moments? What were some of your favorite episodes from the season? And what do you think is going to happen next?
So I absolutely loved the finale. It is so good. I think I was telling you, I was telling someone that The Boys is really the only show that can make me gasp out loud or like laugh out loud and like exclaim like, "Oh my God," like all in like a span of 5 minutes. And this episode just had everything. It was shocking. It was heartbreaking.
It's fun.
It was funny. It was fun to watch. It kicked ass. The action was great. The acting was absolutely incredible. I think it was Carl Urban's best episode of the entire show. And it's amazing how this show, like, I've heard like some people, and I don't agree with it, but a lot of people like, well, where's the story going? Like, nothing's happened. I'm like, you're wrong. But like, I understand where
So
like,
wrong.
and like, but the way like these finales can just like so much can happen in just 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I mean, we even saw that with episode 7, where like in the promo they showed that, oh, Starlight's outed. We know she's a mole, and now the world knows. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute, what? And then not only that, but you have like Lamplighter's death and the Congress hearing. Like so much can happen in an episode.
Yeah,
And
you think the biggest thing's being spoiled, and you got like two more things that are
yeah,
twice the size of that.
and the Black Noir Almond Joy
Yeah.
reveal. It was a crazy season, and it had the perfect ending. All the loose ends were tied up just the right way,
Mm-hmm.
and it perfectly set up season 3.
Yeah. So there are a lot of people who say this could be the ending of the show. I could not disagree more.
Who says
No
that?
way. I've seen it on, I think, Mr. Sunday Movies and them were saying it.
What?
Angry Joe. I could not disagree more. I think that this season, even more so than season 1, sets the stage for a whole nother storyline. Maybe not more so than season 1, but I'd say just as much. I
Yeah.
mean, that ending was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go over what's going on with each character, so you have the boys who split up. Mother Smoke's home with his kids. It's going to be hard to get him back in the fight. That's for sure, especially after everything he heard with Mallory saying,
It's never
take
over.
your country and run, or
Yeah.
take your take your country and run, take your family and run, flee the
Yeah.
country. Is what I was trying to say. You have Frenchie, who seems to have gone off with Kimiko. You have Huey, who's now working for next season's villain, I assume to be next season's villain. But and you have Butcher, who's kind of undecided, and you kind of a wild card there.
Mm-hmm.
Then what I find to be even more interesting is you have the Seven, and I think the state of the Seven right now is one of the coolest things to come out of this season, because Homelander knows that everyone on the Seven except Noir
Hates
betrayed
him.
his ass
Yeah.
and hates him, hates his guts. He knows that A-Train, you can probably figure out that A-Train, got the Stormfront info and pretty much like
Yeah.
made that happen. Um, he knows that Maeve and Starlight are way against him in every way, shape, and form. And he is telling himself he can do whatever the F he wants, but he can't.
Yeah.
He he's completely stuck, and we've never really seen Homelander stuck like this before. And I think that's all leading to a breaking point. I think it was alluded to in this season where he's lasering the whole crowd. I
Mhm.
think we'll get there with season like 3, 4, maybe 5, depending on how far we go.
Yeah.
You know, the state of the 7 right now where it's so tense and it feels like anyone could snap at any moment and like take out one of the other ones, and like these brief alliances that are made with A-Train and Starlight, and then, Maeve and Starlight and stuff like that. It's just so interesting to me. And I can't wait to see how they fill the rest of the team. Because
Mhm.
if you think Stormfront's off, so there's four of them, right? We need 3 new ones.
So there's Homelander, Maeve, Starlight, Noir, and A-Train. So we need 2 more.
2 more.
Soldier Boy. Is he
Oh,
going to be
right.
on the 7? I
It
think he
hasn't been
is.
confirmed, but I'd assume that he is. Usually
Yes.
when they bring in a new character, they throw them on the 7. It makes sense. If they're not on the 7, it's hard to put them in the spotlight of the show. And I think since they cast Jensen Ackles so early, since they revealed it so early, since they've even already done a promo with him in it, in character,
Right.
um, I think that we'll definitely see him in the 7. And that leaves one spot open.
Ooh,
Um,
who's it going to be?
I could see it staying unfilled. We had a spot
Mhm.
open for the entirety of this season with the deep spot. No one took the deep spot this season, at all. So I could see them leaving it unfilled. I wish they wouldn't. I wish they would bring in Tech Knight, and it is my personal like dream for them to have Jeffrey Dean Morgan play Tech Knight.
Mhm.
I think that would be hilarious and awesome. But I don't know exactly how that's gonna work. Um, I know I'm jumping a little ahead to the future, but let's backtrack a little bit. I'm just so excited to talk about what actually happened this season. Um, Everything from Stormfront's commentary to the twist at the end with, the commentary that makes is amazing to me.
Mhm.
Because right before I felt the show was getting, I mean, I didn't mind it by any means, but when it was getting to the point where it's like, okay, like we're getting a little one-sided here. Like obviously, like it's good. Like I'm glad that like Stormfront got exposed and everything, but it's showing, at the end that like there's extremes on both sides, and I love that. Because you obviously don't agree with Nazis. That's awful. I shouldn't even have to say that.
Right, yeah.
But then it also shows, both sides are corrupt.
Mhm.
And that's just so cool to me. And, it's very
And
important on the messages they said,
yeah,
about like Nazis and about like people like that and how easily they can take control using social media,
yeah.
you know?
And not only that, but like not only are both sides corrupt, but really like there is no sides. Like it all comes down to
Yeah.
business. It all comes down to money.
Yeah.
And that's so cynical, and I absolutely love it. I
Yeah.
love when shows are cynical and they like make such good like commentary. And I mean, like you said, like everything with Stormfront and how hate nowadays is subtle and it's hidden. It's not like, oh hey, I'm a Nazi. Like
Right.
it's hidden. Like you have to look for it, and people try to brainwash people. I mean, we saw that with the opening of episode 7
Yeah.
with that poor person who was basically brainwashed into killing that convenience store clerk.
Right.
Um, and I love like how it's scary how realistic the show is.
Yeah.
And I mean, with the opening of the finale, with like if there's a supervillain in your school, that was so perfect.
Yeah.
And like even in this world, like teachers have firearms and they have to
Right.
wait for a superhero.
Yeah.
It's insane and it makes so much sense. It's just such a good show.
Yeah. It does make sense that they put the firearms in there when you could have supervillains attacking. And it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's crazy how how that works, the show does such a good job of showing without like
Spoon feeding it to you.
spoon feeding and without forcing it,
Yeah.
like they some people need to see this, like, oh, like you are acting like Stormfront right now, like,
Yeah.
or um and some people need to see that, oh, you're playing this hero who says they're doing all this good stuff with Victoria Newman, but you're really kind of an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, people need to see both sides,
Yeah.
and I think it does a great job. I love how it points out like all this rhetoric that is used, and it shows how Stormfront uses it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just so good. Even with one of the scenes that stood out to me with that is how like racists in like the year 2020, like how they talk, and you see that with Stormfront when she's talking to A-Train. Oh, why would I have a problem with you?
Oh my God! Why would you say that?
Yeah, why would you say that? Oh, they just let all kinds of people in there now, like
Yeah.
stuff like that, where like you don't hear people just saying, I hate that type of people, I want them all gone. You hear people acting more like that.
Yeah.
And it's like when it's put right in front of you on screen, it's like, yeah, like that's what a racist looks like. And
Yeah.
that's like it highlights that. Because
And
normally I feel like when they're presented in film and TV, you see them as that, like what Stormfront acts when she's not being watched by the media, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But it's good to see like a more like precise like representation of what they're like in like a day-to-day situation.
Yeah. And I mean, props to Aya Cash for like delivering that line,
Yeah.
and like Oliver, like
Awful things she
even
had to
like when
say.
she was, like presenting herself as this like leader of the world and like this feminist that's a good person and it's fighting for what's right. And like she's on tour, like, oh, like, can we get some pockets? Like, and
Yeah.
everyone's asking, girls get it done. And even not only like how hate is, but just how like even how like representation is, like with the girls get it done. And even one of the female writers on the show said, she's like, I saw that in Endgame, like that shot with all the female heroes. And she's like, and I like threw up in my mouth, like, ew, this is forced, this isn't right. What's right is having these, these strong, powerful, badass women just kick the crap out of this evil Nazi bitch.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and it
it's
makes sense
yeah,
because what are the other guys going to do? It's not forced at all. It's not like, oh, all the men went to this side of the battle and all the females went to this side of the battle. It made sense, and they worked it in a way and it just worked. These
even
three,
with Becca when she stabbed Stormfront,
yeah,
like that was just driven from emotion and fear. Like that's what
right.
someone in her
Instead of
position would
it
do.
being driven from thin air and
Yeah.
just, oh, boys go that way, girls go that way. Let's get some shots going. Um, Yeah, I thought that was a great scene. I really liked it. One thing, the only problem with the entire episode that I had, and it's such a small thing, is that Frenchie goes, "Oh, the rocket launchers or whatever,"
Oh,
before they
like
run.
screamed
I
it
was
out
like,
loud to
"What are you
Huey.
thinking, dude?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, let's just tell her that like we have weapons that can actually deal damage to her." Like,
Yeah.
but such
But
a
I
small
mean,
thing.
I guess like someone, I mean, we don't know because hopefully we'll never be in that position. But I mean, maybe someone like, I doubt they were thinking like 20 steps ahead.
Yeah, that's fair.
But, and something that I loved about this episode was like, I hope we said like before, like, oh, maybe, the boys will like inject themselves with V and fight the superheroes. But I hope they never do that.
Yeah,
Because I think it's way better to see them struggle and say like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And come up with these like really intricate, really smart plans. Like the
I
thing with the
agree.
speakers and Homelander,
Yeah,
like that was genius. And I loved his reaction to that, because
when
that
you
was the
see the
same
Vought
that,
logo, yeah.
yeah, and that was the same reaction that Translucent had when he found the bug under Vought, though. What like the
Yeah.
same way they said it. Um, Anthony Starr continues to absolutely kill this role. He's so good. It's disgusting he hasn't won every single award on the face of the planet for it.
real shit this year, or
Yeah.
I'm gonna be very upset. He better be winning some good stuff
Even like the
because
things like earlier in the season with like him and Ryan and Becca when she was handing out pancakes, he's like, I'll just have one. She's like, syrup? He goes, yes, please. And he's just like
yeah,
so creepy.
yeah,
Even like and like he delivers like the like you guys are the real heroes. He does that perfectly. He's such a scary character, like how threatening he is to Ashley. And like I actually felt bad for him this season, like for a
dude,
split
me
second
too.
when
He really connected with Ryan, dude.
he did. Yeah, he's like, God shouldn't have to feel that like loneliness. And you're like, oh my God, like I understand Homelander. Like
Yeah,
he's a
like
terrible
literally.
person. And like even like he didn't say a word, but when he walked in that trailer and fixed the thing for Stormfront, because like it was like his first like kind of like girlfriend and crush, and like he
Yeah,
bought her like this bouquet of flowers. I was like, oh my God, Homelander, you're a human being.
yeah,
And then he just burns him down
yeah.
because
Because
like
he's
he's
like,
impatient. Yep.
yeah,
And oh my God, it's such a multi-layered role, and he
yeah.
just kills it.
He does. He really kills it, and I really do feel bad for him because you even hear with what Vogelbaum's
Mm,
saying no, he was a sweet kid, but I didn't need him to be a sweet kid. I needed him to be a warrior. I needed him to be the strongest soldier to ever live. So that's
yeah.
how I raised him, and he was raised in a lab. And the fact that he's self-conscious about that and he's able to understand I'm screwed up. I
Yeah.
don't want my son to be the same way
Mm-hmm.
is what almost it doesn't redeem all the things he's done, but it almost redeems his soul in a way where it's like, all right, well, at least he understands. And because most of it isn't his fault. If he was raised normally, then maybe things would have been different. It doesn't excuse everything he's done, but he sees that he can fix things with his son. But what completely ruins that is when he chooses his fame and his the crowd's love over his son. And he even says, like, if you do that, I will kill everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And you believe it. He would fly around this green earth and kill every human being in sight.
Yeah.
He would laser everyone, and that would just be that. And they'd have to send Noir on him or something. I mean, they'd have
Yeah.
to Mr. Edgar would be definitely crapping himself if that happened. So that's just so cool how you can in one episode hate Homelander and then you can love him and then you can feel bad for him and then it's like, oh wait, you're hearing people chant your name in your head because like all you want is people's approval
Yeah.
and like people love you.
It's
And yeah.
such a good character, and the way he's written is so good. I think I mean, he's my favorite character in the series.
Yeah. He's
But I
mine too.
think yeah, and I think like the show is at its best when it's him versus Butcher.
Yeah.
Like when he dropped in that house and said, "Did I hear you say Butcher?" I was like, "Oh my God, like
Yeah.
it's about to go down." And like even when like he knows how powerful he is, and he knows that Butcher is just an asshole. He's just a person,
Yeah.
and he's like, "What are you gonna do? Blow yourself up?" Like again, and it's like such a perfect line.
Yeah.
And
Because he doesn't even like rush to take care of him. Like he
no,
just like he's fine toying with him and he's
hmm
fine like messing with him because he can because he's the Homelander and he can do whatever the f he wants and
yeah,
he doesn't have to like, oh, I have to like kill him in like this tactical way. As soon as he walks through that door, he's lasered in half. He like has that luxury where he can like get satisfaction out of it and
yeah.
even
Don't
like
say satisfaction
not
with
like
Homeland
that.
after seeing this episode.
God, no, not like that. But I think, yeah, he does love the idea that he can do whatever he wants.
And then everyone will love him for it anyway.
Yeah. But he knows there is a limit to that. And he's in quite the spot right now. And I think, I guess we can start to move into predictions. I think him and Soldier Boy are going to get along really well. I think that, from that one little tease we got where Soldier Boy's acting all like Captain America and all like go lucky, America and life,
Yeah.
liberty, pursuit of happiness. And then,
Mhm.
you see him roll his eyes. Like,
Yeah.
I think him and Homelander will, like, especially they're both very, like, America themed, will be
Yeah.
able to, like, relate over that. And hopefully, like, he finds, like a best friend role so that way he's not so lonely. But, yeah.
And maybe they can bond about like, knowing Stormfront because I
Yeah.
mean, he was, working with Stormfront when she was Liberty. And who
Yeah.
knows, maybe they were together for a short time.
Yeah.
But I don't think either of them wants to be with the stump she is now.
No.
But Eric Kripke did say in an interview that Homelander this season will be a homicidal maniac. And everyone was kind of like, wait, isn't he already a homicidal maniac? But
Yeah.
like going off what you said earlier at the start of the show was, like he's just going to be like a dog let off the leash. Like he's going to want to feel like he can do whatever the F he wants. And he's definitely, by the end of this season, going to be pushed into just, not caring and just
He's
killing
gonna
everyone.
hit his breaking point.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen eventually. And there's only so much an unstable person like that can take
Yeah.
before they snap.
And I think especially like after knowing that, Victoria Newman like was in on it the whole time and that like he really is like he doesn't really know anything and he's in such a small box like in the world in VOT and even in the Seven because he's being blackmailed by like every single member. Like it's all just gonna culminate into this volcanic eruption of laser eyes and blood.
It's gonna be, the Joker at the end when you hear yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're gonna get that with Homelander.
Mm-hmm.
He's just I could see him literally just lasering the bottom of Vought Tower in half and
I
just
want to see
flying
that so
away.
badly.
How sick would that be?
Yeah.
And just collapsing the whole tower. That would be a great set piece. You see A-Train running people in and out. You see like Maeve trying to like. They should just hire me. I mean. Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the predictions
Yes.
we got right.
Okay.
At the start of the season because we did a show. And,
I don't remember a lot of my predictions.
I don't really remember either.
Did I say anything about Lamplighter? Did I say Lamplighter was gonna die? Because if I did, I was right.
I don't know. We talked about like him being friends with the Deep, and they never had an interaction.
Oh, that's tough. I wish they did. I wanted to see Lamplighter like reconnect with like all his friends, because he's like, oh, give it up for my boy Lamplighter, but we never got to see that. I'm so mad he died. Like I like the way they did it, and I liked the arc where it's like, all right, like when you have this life of fame, and then you're reduced to being nothing, and like where that can lead, and like I think it was realistic for like his character to go on that arc. But I wanted to see him like, hey, like Deep, what's up? I wanted to see him at that bar at the end of episode 7, like with his boys, A-Train and Deep, Like I want to see him with the costume. I'm so happy we saw that flashback where he's in costume.
Yeah.
Would have been such a shame if we didn't get to. But I honestly think it would have been great if he went in that Vought Tower. They went down in the storage room. He grabs his lamp and he just killed as many people as he could and then burned himself after. Or even he grabbed his lamp and like aimed it at his face and like burned himself that way. But, I wanted to see the lamp one more time. So funny.
Yeah.
But what else do we get right? What else? I think I said Maeve was going to die. That didn't happen.
I think we all kind of thought Maeve was going to die, but I'm glad she didn't.
A lot bigger of a role in this season than I thought she would.
Yeah. I mean, it's so tough because
twist was going to happen. That never happened.
Yeah. Do you think that's going to happen?
Not in the way it does in the comics.
But do you think like it's going to be like a familiar face?
I think it's going to be Nathan Mitchell under that mask, the actor who plays him.
Yeah.
To
be honest, like I'm fine with it.
Yeah, no.
I mean, the writers know what they're doing, and they've like, I don't know. A lot of people didn't like the Almond Joy thing. Did you like that? How like that was his one weakness?
I was mixed on it. I wish it didn't hospitalize him for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I wish Maeve would have that ruthless. Like she didn't even let him get his EpiPen. Like, come on. Like I feel like even after I mean, I'm no expert, but after you take the EpiPen, you're still like on the ground for a few minutes. You're not like ready to go. Like she could have just like maybe even don't kick it that far, put it like a few feet away so he can like make it to the EpiPen faster. But I wish it didn't take him out of the rest of the season. But I guess if he was in the rest of it, it wouldn't really add it up. Where would he have
Yeah.
been? But I didn't know. It wasn't that bad. It would have been one thing if it was like a long fight and then eventually she like gets it in his mouth. Like that would have been stupid. But the way she sneaks up on him and
Yeah.
so quickly like puts it down, I was fine with it. I thought
Yeah.
it was funny. I thought it was good. I like how it's his one weakness. I'd rather him
Yeah.
get defeated by an allergy than just get his ass kicked by Maeve.
Yeah. I agree.
I
And
want
makes
him to
sense.
be
Like,
stronger than Maeve, and I want him to be stronger than Starlight, which I know he is. He's kicked Starlight's ass like 3 times now. So
yeah. Let's talk about Starlight for a minute. She
is
was
not
great this
powerful,
season,
dude. She's
but her
awful.
powers suck. Yeah.
Her those are the worst powers to ever get. It seems like all the soups have like a baseline durability and strength. You know, like she was
Mhm.
able to punch like the bricks. A-Train's able to like punch the bricks. The Deep, like they all have like a baseline like extra like toughness and strength.
Yeah.
But her actual powers are awful.
Hmm.
Like, what the hell, dude? Like, you need electricity to even like use them.
Yeah.
One, two, they're not even like all that great. Like, even in the first episode of season 1, she's like, "Look away," and then it like fries the camera, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
all right,
I mean, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they can't like retcon that, you know. But I mean, I thought like her character
would be-
arc was good this season.
I'd be carrying a car battery around or some shit.
Have
Like, no, you're
Yeah.
right. Her character arc was good.
like a generator like strapped to her back or
yeah,
something.
exactly, like something like that.
Um, it's so like difficult because they have so many characters, but they're all like fantastic. Like the Deep, it's so funny. Like he's like still the biggest joke of the team. Like even when Homelander was trying to teach his son how to do his laser eyes, and he does it on a little action figure of the Deep,
Yeah.
like everything. And of course, like he does this long road to redemption only to get screwed in the end and
I
be
love
called a
how
toxic
it looked
personality.
nothing like the Deep. I love the joke about like
Yeah.
action figures that look nothing like the superheroes because
Mhm.
that's like the funniest stuff. Like when you see like a Wonder Woman that like looks nothing like Wonder Woman or whatever. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was really funny. I feel I've gotten to the point where I feel bad for the Deep. He seems truly like he regrets what he did and he just wants a second chance, man. And I think, you know, maybe just maybe not, he doesn't deserve maybe to be back on the 7, but he like deserves some happiness in his life after his long road of redemption. And his maybe he doesn't even deserve it, but I feel like he's I keep going down levels, but I feel like he earned
Your
it.
points are down
Yeah,
5.2 right now.
yeah, I feel like he at least earned some type of level of happiness from the leader of the church. He had to have owed him something. That's just not fair. He didn't laugh when they said that they were space jellies or whatever. The joke was
Space Force.
space pores, yeah.
Yeah.
And he like got married to some like random woman. Like he did everything he asked. He was such a kiss ass, and
Mhm.
like it did not pay off at all. And that's just like so sad to see him try so hard and just get like completely shafted there. And
But
A-Train's
like
little victory dance kind of hurt.
I feel like that's like the way the world works. Like sometimes like no, you just get screwed. And like I love how like nothing happened with the Fresca. And I
Yeah,
hope like just like that was just like a weird thing that the church did.
it's just a culty type of thing. Yeah,
Yeah. And like how the Deep like he's not a good person. I mean, he's not. He did bad things. He's paying for them. I think
yeah,
he's got a little bit more to pay, but I love how he's still a joke. Like even at the beginning of the season, he's like, "Hey, that's my shoulder. Like they cropped me out of that picture."
yeah.
And he's like,
He
"Oh
does
my
begin
god."
to mean well though with this
Oh
whole
yeah, for
church thing.
sure.
But
I don't
you're
know.
right. He hasn't paid enough for what he did. That's just unredeemable.
Maybe he'll be like the new head of the Church of Collective because he's gone. So maybe he'll
I
take it
feel
over.
like he left the church. I feel like he was like, F this. I don't even like Fresca.
Is the church like gonna still be a thing though? Because I
I wouldn't be
mean,
surprised if it's out. I feel like the church is just where they sent characters they didn't know what to do with this season, to be honest. I think the
um,
deep peaked at like episode 3 or like 2 and 3, like when his gills are talking to him, and then like the whole thing with the whale, and like after that they just sidelined him. And he had so many funny moments throughout the season.
yeah, even like the little things with like when he was checking his head when all
Yeah.
the heads were popping.
Or even when he's like, "Hey, A Train, my man!" Like, here comes the A Train. And he's like trying to talk to him.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, he had funny moments this season. I hope they do more with him next season, like when it comes to the main story, because he had nothing to do with the main story. So
yeah,
hopefully they weave him in better. I hope he gets back to the 7 someday. Maybe, yeah, I think, but not because he deserves it, if that makes any sense. I want him to get back to the 7, like for the story, but I want like that to be, because being on the 7, like, yeah, it's an accomplishment in that world, but it really just means you're joining like a team of assholes. So like,
mhm,
what does it matter if an asshole gets back on the team?
yeah,
Like, I'm not rooting for the 7 to be like a fully like good team. Like,
right,
that's not the nature of the 7, you know.
yeah.
So
Let's talk a little bit about Stan Edgar. Now, I thought he was going to be in way more than he
100%,
was.
dude.
Talk about sidelining a character. I was originally like mad. I was like, what the hell? Like, Giancarlo Esposito, like one of my favorite actors. He's so good.
Why?
Perfect role for him. And he's like never in the show.
Yeah, why hire someone like that if you're not going to use them?
But I feel like
It's a
he,
lot.
like the last episode, I feel like kind of it changed my mind on that because he had like, this amazing scene with Butcher.
That was a
I
really good
think
scene.
and like going like circling back to like the commentary aspect, the way like he's all about business
Hmm.
and the way Butcher said like she should bother you, and he's like, of course she does, but like that's a white man's luxury to
Yeah, that was good.
and I heard a few people theorize that like, oh, he hired Stormfront because he has the mind of Frederick Vaught, but I feel like that would totally undermine his character and
Yeah.
like everything in that scene. But the reason I'm okay with him being sidelined is if like he's like this puppeteer in the shadows, like if he's,
Mm.
truly in charge of like Victoria Newman, as it seems like he is,
Oh, he definitely is.
and like if they continue developing that and he's in it more in season 3. Because my fear was that he was going to be like, this big guy in Vought, and he was going to be in it a lot this season,
I thought he
but
was
they were
going
going
to
to
be a
kill him
villain,
off.
but he was
Yeah.
not the villain.
No, he's
And he's
just,
not dead. That's all that matters.
thank
He's
God.
not dead.
Yeah.
So he's not, there's plenty they can still do with him. The
I'm
carrot,
fine with him having like a lesser role if he lasts like, to like season 4 or 5.
yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. I love that scene with Butcher. Like
Yeah.
what you said about like the whole like white man's luxury. Like, that was really cool. I love how like all business he is. Like, he doesn't
Hmm.
care that he's like shoveling a Nazi into people's face, because it's all business, and that's all it's ever been. And that's how like people like him have been treated. Like, it's all business. Like with slavery, like that's how it was treated back then. It's
Yeah.
just business. So like for him to have like that type of viewpoint on it is like so cool to me. And I love that. I think his character is awesome, and I can't wait to see what else they do with him. Yeah, I thought it was great. I guess the last thing to theorize about, and is kind of like the biggest thing that hasn't even really been discussed, is that Compound V can now be given to adults.
Yeah.
That should have bigger implications than it does. That should be huge.
Hmm.
And I think that we could see a spike in soups next season. I think that I think they're finding more, they're obviously somehow, some way advancing Compound V,
Hmm.
right? Maybe that's how they bring back Soldier Boy. And then that could also lead into, I know there's like a zombie arc in the stories where characters are revived using Compound V, but they're like mindless.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. So maybe that has something to do with it.
There are so many different ways they can like go with that. I think it would be cool if like it's like kind of like hinted at, and like, some people get it, and like, I mean, soup management is now like a part of the government.
Yeah.
So like some of them will be like rounded up, but like if it's like mentioned a little bit that there is like, a lot more people getting Compound V, but like we didn't really hear about it.
Mm.
And it kind of gets like bigger and bigger until like, this final season, whenever it might be.
Boom. All over the place. Just
Yeah, so like
superheroes.
we have superheroes to fight on both sides. So it's not like,
Yeah.
just normal people versus Homelander, because I hate to tell you, but normal people are gonna lose
Yeah.
that battle. So like, we can actually have like a full out like war
Yeah.
with soups. I think that
That
would
would
be
be
cool.
sick. Yeah.
But that's farther down
That's
the line.
that's like finale stuff. That's like
Yeah,
way down that's like series
end of
finale,
series.
World War Soup. Like, but I
Yeah.
just think Compound V is so interesting
Mhm.
because the show is so realistic when it comes to like the way people act and stuff. The only real difference between our world and that world is the existence of Compound V. And if Compound V existed, our world would be nearly identical. That's the only key difference, is that whatever makes Compound V, that's the only thing that changed to change everything.
Mhm.
So I find that so interesting. And now that that's more accessible, it's like, all right, you're right. Maybe we will see. All right, next season we see a few more soups. We see a soup walking down the street with scales or whatever. Then, the season after that, we see like a few soups like working together to rob a bank. And then season 5, we see like a group of soups saying, hey man, like screw this, like screw Vought. Like
Yeah.
like even if they're like the outcasts, like, oh, like I wanted to be in the 7 and I just got straight denied, like I'm coming after you. And
Yeah.
it's like a big war.
And
But
like I feel like, talk about like the realism of it. Even with like, when there's a coronavirus vaccine, it's not going to be like, we got the vaccine, it's gone. Like it takes a long time for that to be made, manufactured,
mhm, that's true too.
distributed.
Yeah.
So it's a slow process, and it's been shelved. It hasn't been approved yet.
Right. And that's
So,
another thing, is since it's given to adults, that's probably another reason why, you know, we're getting this division in the government to take care of soup affairs. And I think it would be really cool to see, like, maybe at the beginning of a show, like a robbery or something, and then like, you see people come in with the brand new badge that says, soup, whatever the CIA, whatever the,
yeah.
like whatever they end up calling it, um like a badge logo, like soldiers that are meant to take down soups pretty much, and they're
Mhm.
investigating, or something like that. Like, you see that right off the bat, you see something cool with
Yeah.
showing the consequences of that. Or you even, maybe it's even, you know Homelander stops a robbery, and then you see them coming in after to clean it all up and to figure out like what's going on, what the plan was. So
Yeah.
anything like that. There's so many directions it could go, Matt. Season 2 was awesome. Season 3 will probably be even better. The last question I have for you: season 1 or season 2, which one's better, before we end the show?
How dare you ask that question?
That is the most
I'm
brutal question. Don't
not
ask me.
sure, because I feel like the show ages like a fine wine. Um, I mean, I've seen like every episode of season 1 like 3 times.
Yeah, me too.
I've seen every episode of season 2 twice. Um, oh, it's tough. I mean, they're both so good, and they both have strengths and weaknesses. I feel like in terms of pacing, season 1 was better.
I agree.
In terms of action, season 2 was way better. Um, and like character development, probably season 2.
Yeah.
But I don't know, better or worse. I think they're
Yeah,
both
that's not fair.
incredible. Yeah.
That was
How
a
dare?
mean
Yeah.
question. I'm sorry. Especially right at the end of the show.
Yeah.
I couldn't answer it myself.
But they're both amazing. Both 10 out of 10.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, 10 out of 10 is not better than 10 out of 10. So that would be my answer, is, if they're, one cannot be better than the other if they both get the perfect score. So,
Exactly.
all right. Well, that is our The Boys Season 2 discussion. It is such a shame we're going to have to wait so long for Season 3. I'll be waiting every single day until it comes out. Keeping up with The Boys' Twitter and all their hilarious tweets. Feel free to follow our Twitter at Exactly Entertainment Podcast.
That was a great segue, Derek.
You like that? You like that?
That was smooth.
Well, let's call the show right after that great segue. Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. Be sure to check out our other episodes. We have 10 more episodes behind this one that are all great content about a variety of different topics. So make sure to check those out, and we will see you in the next episode of the Exactly Entertainment Podcast. Thanks for listening.